My name is Piotr Dębski. I am an authorised fitter with Barlinek, the largest manufacturer of wood floors in Poland and one of the largest in the world. A wood floor is a product made to last for years, but this involves it being properly installed and appropriately cared for. Barlinek wood floor can be fitted in two ways, floating or glued. I'll show you the proper way to install a layered floor using the latter method. You lay the floor by gluing it to the subfloor. Use Barlinek adhesive and Barlinek primer. An advantage of gluing down the wood floor is that this improves the acoustic comfort in the room. The Barlinek Floorboard is a natural product made from 100% wood. The structure of the floorboard is resistant to the changes in the air temperature and humidity. Not one, but 3 layers of wood are arranged in a modern cross formation. Every Barlinek floorboard is a ready product, finished with lacquer or oil, which can be used as soon as it is fitted. Anyone who is even remotely keen on DIY can lay a Barlinek floor without help. If you're not sure you can manage to glue down the floor, use the services of an authorised Barlinek fitter. Before layered wood floors are laid, all wet work on walls and ceilings and slanting loft walls should be finished, including priming, stopping, painting and decorative plastering. The room and subfloor which the floor is to be laid on must meet the following conditions. The moisture content of a cement-based subfloor should not exceed 2% or 0.5% where there are plasterboard pads. The temperature should be between 18 degrees Celsius and 24 degrees Celsius when installing and using the floor, and the relative humidity of the air should be maintained at a level between 45 and 60%. The quality of the concrete flooring you're laying it on is also important. Place a 2-meter transversing rule on the subfloor. The level can't deviate by more than 3 mm from the horizontal along the entire length of the rule. The concrete should be compact with no cracks or holes. It should also meet the relevant strength criteria: compression strength of 25 megapascal and peel strength of 1 megapascal. Remember to acclimatise the Barlinek boards in the factory packaging in the place where they are to be fitted for at least 48 hours before laying them. During this time, the wood floor adapts to the conditions in which it will be fitted and used. To assemble your floor, you will need a 1000-gram hammer, professional tapper, mounting lug, spacing wedges, a key for the 5Gs lock, square, electric or handsaw, a toothed trowel for spreading glue, a roller for laying the primer, a knife for cutting, a tape measure, pencil. The direction the floor is laid in depends on the dimensions of the room and the direction the sunlight comes in. If none of the room walls exceeds 8 meters, the flooring should run lengthwise towards the sunlight that is perpendicular to the most sunlit window of the room. If any room side is longer than 8 meters, or the flooring is installed in a long and narrow room, such as a corridor, the floorboard should be fitted down the length of the room. After establishing the direction for laying the floor, measure the width of the room. Take the width of the expansion gaps, 2 × 15 mm, away from the result and divide it by the width of a floorboard. In this way, you can calculate how many rows of floorboards you have to lay and where to cut off the last row of floorboards. If the last row is less than 70 mm wide, you should also trim the first row laid. Before gluing down the floorboards, you must prime the subfloor. Apply the primer evenly over the surface with a roller. Consumption of the primer is approximately 100 to 200 milliliters per square meter, depending on the surface absorptivity. Wait about 2 hours for the primer to dry, then get started on gluing down the floor.
Paczki z deskami rozcinamy nożykiem od spodu, żeby nie uszkodzić warstwy licowej deski. Pamiętamy, że deska barlinecka to 100% drewna i każda ma niepowtarzalny wygląd. Przed rozpoczęciem montażu należy rozłożyć deski i zaplanować wzór podłogi. W pierwszym pasie podłogi obcinamy wystające pióro. Pozwoli to na prawidłowe wykonanie dylatacji, czyli szczeliny prześciennej.
Use the toothed trowel to spread the glue over the width of 2 rows of flooring.
Na szerokość 2 pasów podłogi.
Rub the glue into the subfloor so that it covers the concrete. When using this method, it is important not to glue on the surface layer of the floorboard. If that happens, you should clean it off using Barlinek Intensive Glue Remover. Lay the first floorboard, then use the spacing wedges to leave a 15 mm gap by each wall. Before leaving the floorboard, check that the tab is correctly positioned in the lock. The end of the tab should be in line with the surface layer of the floorboard. This is important because otherwise you can't connect the floorboards. Add the next floorboard to the short edge, then let go. Remember that floorboard connections in neighbouring rows must be staggered by a minimum of 50 centimetres. Add another floorboard and let it drop. Use the tapper and hammer to knock the floorboard home on the lateral edge. Do the same with the subsequent rows of floorboards. When tapping in the floorboards, be careful not to get glue on the tapper.
Zamknięcie zamków 5GS nastąpi poprzez przesunięcie się języków zamka, które będą przesuwane przez pióro dokładanej deski.
Fit the last row of floorboards by measuring the width of the floorboard and taking into account the 15 mm expansion gap from the wall. Tap the floorboard in using the mounting lug. Connect the floorboards at the front edge with the aid of the key to the 5G's lock. Set the key so that the closed lock is visible on it. After the key is properly positioned, pull it towards you, thus closing the lock and joining the floorboards. Do the same with the rest of the floorboards. When installing the floor in the door frame, you absolutely have to leave an expansion gap 25 mm wide. Cover the gap with the expansion slat.
Po zamontowaniu listew przypodłogowych, nasza podłoga jest gotowa do użytkowania.
Now you can watch our videos about fitting and caring for Barlinek natural wood floors.